Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got something different for you guys, and it's something that I'm very excited about. I am finally going to take on the improvements that I've been wanting to do to the garage. So like a lot of you guys, we do the work on our cars in the garage. As much time as I spend in the garage between the two cars and even housework, I spend a lot of time in here. Unfortunately, this garage is not all that user-friendly. Here, as you can tell, it is very cramped in here. This is actually a 21 deep by 20 feet wide garage, so it barely fits the two cars as it is. So any space that I have, you see it's taken up by all this shelving, and I try not to have any stuff like in the middle and back of the garage, because if I had stuff there, I wouldn't be able to open my doors. So that's why you see the shelves towards the front kind of crammed up, right? So storage is a big problem here. I know if you guys have ever looked into garage renovations and whatnot, like you see people do massive shelving that all matches. It looks gorgeous, but it's not something that's going to work in this garage because of the size. So don't expect to see that here. I also don't want to spend that kind of money in the garage. That's money that I could use in the kitchen or the bathrooms, to be honest, where I would see more return on investment with those than I would here in the garage. So my goal here is really to make this garage a more comfortable place for me to do my work in, whether it be automotive or house stuff. And of course, I'm an OCD person, so of course I had to do a spreadsheet of all the stuff that I want to do. So this is going to be a long-term project. This is going to be maybe the next year and a half that I'm going to be doing stuff little by little. But so every now and then you guys are going to see me drop a video on garage stuff. Today's video is actually going to take care of this bad boy here, this ugly monstrosity up there, and that is the overhead garage door motor. So that thing is an old Genie model, and it's been giving me problems for maybe a year. Lately it's been getting bad. So finally said, you know what, it's time to replace it. So we're gonna modernize this. Here's the old setup, chain drive, and it is loud. It makes all kinds of clackety noises. I've cleaned that chain, I've lubricated it, and it really doesn't make a difference. It's just bad. So I went to Home Depot and I picked up this wall mount motor, and the way this works is that is actually going to mount right there on the wall. And what it does is that it grabs onto the end of the tension rod there. And if I'm using the wrong terminology, guys, I'm sorry. This is just how I've come to know it. So what it's going to do is that it's going to grab the end of the shaft there, and it's going to spin it there. And that's what is going to then pull up on the door. By placing the motor there, I am then able to remove this rail system here and remove that ugly monstrosity. Some other great benefit of this is that we're going to bring it into the 2020s, not the 1980s that this thing is probably from. So this thing actually has a battery backup. So if the power goes out, I'm still going to be able to get in and out of the garage. Great. And it's also Wi-Fi enabled, so I can actually open it and close it with my phone if I want to. This is not a sponsored video. I really wish Home Depot sponsored me for this, but yeah, I pay for this out of my own money. So here's some of the stuff that I'm going to need for it. Obviously you have the motor itself. And then here I have an electric box. What that electric box is going to do is that I'm actually going to tap into the power that's currently going to the motor, and because I need to run power to a new outlet that I'm going to place in the ceiling right above where the motor is going to sit. One of the many hats that I wear is that I am a certified electrician, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. So that's what that box is. The blue one is actually where I'm going to put the outlet to, and of course I have a bunch of connectors for the Romex cable. You don't see the cable here because I have a big roll of it upstairs in the attic. And here of course is an outlet and cover plate that I had extra from when I went into the house, and I replaced all of them with white ones. So I'm going to use this one up there. Now guys, I know the limits of my skill, and I'm pretty sure that I could install this myself. I'm actually opting in this case to have a professional come and install it, and simply because if there's any issue with this, I don't want the manufacturer to say that I installed it incorrectly. At least this way, by having a professional do it, I can just go to that company and say, hey, it's acting up. So this thing actually has a lifetime warranty, so I'm very excited about that. Any issue with it, just get a replacement. So I just don't want them to be able to say that I installed it incorrectly. So I think that there are some cases in which it makes sense to have a professional do it. To me, this is one of them. So we're gonna have a professional do it, but he did already tell me that he's not an electrician. He's here to install the motor. So the job of moving the power outlet falls on Mr. Electrician here. So all right, so I'm going to start by just go ahead and installing the outlet here. But in order to do that, we need to actually saw a hole up there. That's going to make a whole lot of dust. So you want to go ahead and clear out the area in which you're going to be working in. All right, so now the air is clear, we're ready to go ahead and start sawing. So here's the thing, I don't know where the beams are for the attic, so I'm actually gonna go up in the attic. I'm gonna go around to this area and I'm going to find a spot in which I am cleared to go ahead and install this box. So with that said, I'm gonna take you guys up into the attic. Okay guys, so this is definitely going to suck. There is not much space and I'm gonna have to just squish in there to the best of my abilities. And I'm gonna have to go up on the rafters because obviously you don't wanna step through the sheetrock and then you end up as a meme on the internet. You have to be careful because there's not much vertical space. Just so you guys know, this here is the wire for the sensor that's down there. I actually need to run a new one, which I left it downstairs. Dang it! We are going to find a spot. I kind of want to do it as close to the corner as possible. So I know that this hole was coming out to the end and then there's the corner there. So I'm going to place it right here. That's going to be my spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut one edge closer to the wall. And from there I can do the rest from underneath. So let's go. Come on, buddy. There we go.
Ow. Yeah, again, be careful with the... Ow.
And there we got about another inch and change to go. Now we're gonna go towards me. All right, so I went ahead and did a long one and two short ones coming towards me. So I'm gonna finish it off downstairs. This actually mounts from the inside of the garage. Damn, man, I'm too old to be up in here. But you know what? It saves money. So a little bit of struggle and saved a whole lot of money. I'm okay with that. All right, well, look at that. That's exactly where I wanted it to be. So you see what I meant about doing the long one and then two short ones. So let's go ahead and finish this now. By the way, guys, there is no way to do this cleanly. Whether you use a reciprocating saw or a hand saw like this, it's just going to make a lot of dust, period. All right, so we got the right length. We just need to go a little wider. Let's just go ahead and mark our holes for reference. That's one, that's two. All right, let's go for it. Right now, this is a rough install. We're good on the width. We need to work on the length a little bit. There's a trick with this. Cut out a little at a time so you don't go over. Once you go over, By the way, I never showed you guys. The reason I picked this particular box is because, you know, how do you secure it to the ceiling once it's on there? You see these little flaps? What happens is that you have two Phillips right here, right? One on each side. And as you tighten it, what's gonna do is that it's gonna first flip it. And once it's flipped and it can't go any further, the screw will actually draw the flap down and it's going to clamp onto the sheetrock of the ceiling. So that's how you secure it. But I mean, which is cool. I mean, this thing is not going to see weight. It's literally there just for me to plug the outlet. But you're going to have applications in which sometimes you need to be able to hold weight. And this may hold a few pounds, nothing crazy. Obviously it's plastic. So, if you ever need to do something that's going to be holding weight, you definitely want to get a box that you can actually secure onto the side of a stud. This is just trial and error here. All right, guys, there you go. Now I've got that nice and flush. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten the screws so that way we can have this secured to the sheetrock, and then we can start doing wiring. Guys, it is not fun being up in the attic in the summertime. It is hot up there. So imagine that when it's 90 something degrees or 100 degrees here in Oklahoma. Anyway, okay, first of all, I went ahead and dropped the new reference line for the new sensor that's coming. You see that came out of the same hole that the existing sensor is on. I'll go ahead and clean this up so it's not just dangling here, because it's going to be another 2 weeks before the guy comes and installs it. And then what I did is I ran it along the edge here and I dropped it in the same hole here that's currently for this sensor here. Here's this new wire. So that's plenty enough length, and obviously I have some slack on that side intentionally. In case the hookup for the motor is at the bottom, there will still be space there. While I was up there, I went ahead and dropped the new Romex. The good thing about having the garage door closed is that at the top here, I get to have a little shelf for my tools. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and strip these so I can get some flex on them, and then we're gonna take off the insulation and then hook it up to our outlet. Now remember guys, this is not a how-to video. I am not showing you how to do it on yours. I'm just taking you along with what I'm doing. There's a difference. By the way, if you guys ever do this, just so you guys know, generally speaking, on these 3-wire Romex cables, black is your hot wire, white is your neutral, and obviously the bare one is ground. Here I can go ahead and touch them because the other end of this Romex is not hooked up to power yet. So this is perfectly safe to do right now. You should definitely not do this without shutting off your breaker in case it is connected to power. All right, I just went ahead and gave all 3 wires a little hook at the end because what's gonna happen is that when you come into the outlet, you need to wrap around the underside of the screws. This is for the white one, this is for the black one, and here's the ground one. So you go ahead and loop the hook under them and then you tighten them down. You know, as much as I didn't want this to be a how-to, I just can't help like giving somewhat instructions because at the end of the day, like there's somebody watching out here that this could be helpful for, that they've never done this before. So I figured, why not? You know, it doesn't hurt anything. All right, so now all 3 leads are secured onto the outlet. So this is ready to go up to the box. You see these screws that come loose with it? They are actually going to screw down the center right here. And that's how the outlet gets secured to the box. All right, the outlet is in place. So now we are down to our finishing touch for the outlet, which is the faceplate. And hopefully I don't drop the screw. All right, so the outlet is now done. Look at that. Doesn't look all that bad. There's only one spot there. I may actually have some oversized outlet covers that'll cover that. All right guys, so I just shut off power to the garage. Notice that all the lights are off. And before I turned it off, I went ahead and cracked the garage door open, get some air in here. Let me show you something that's actually very important and that could potentially save your life. I'm not kidding, this is serious. This is a voltage detector, and you know, just because you shut off the breaker doesn't mean that certain cables aren't still hot because they're feeding off of a different breaker. So I shut off the one in my breaker that said garage, but take a look at this. We're gonna go ahead and attach it to our outlet. Nothing. So we got no power here, right? There's an example. But here's the other outlet that I have, which is on a separate circuit. And I learned this back when I was replacing all the outlets with whites. That one was off when I shut off the garage, but this one was still hot. I come to find out that this one, for some reason, is on the GFI circuit. Don't ask me why. It makes no sense to me because this is not a wet area. But this one, see? That one is still hot. So if you are not in the habit of checking your outlets before you start touching them, I hope that this sheds some light and I hope that this saves your life one day. Use this before you start doing electrical work. Always be sure that the circuit is not hot before you start doing anything. Okay, so here we are again up in my attic. That's the new Romex that I ran to that corner where the new outlet is. So I have it all bunched up here, but that's where I'm gonna put in my electric box because right down here under this wood, that's where the box for the outlet is for the existing motor. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and tie into it upstream here so I can tap my new Romex into that. All right, so first things first, let's just go ahead and make sure that there is no live current. All right, you can see here we're green. Yep, there's no current on this cable, so we are good to go to tie into it. Notice here, this is the box that I'm using. And of course, you always want to make sure you cover it afterwards. And the good thing is that I have plenty of slack on this, so it's gonna make life a lot easier. There we go. Now we're gonna cut back the insulation and bring them into the box. We're gonna secure the box into the wall here. I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna put you guys on the time lapse just because it is hot up here. It's easily 100 degrees in here. Now it's no longer overcast and it's just getting hotter, so I gotta move fast. All right guys, sorry for the blinking. That's the LED light right there. There we go, it's done. Here, nice and tight. And there's clearance below down here, so there's nothing crimping it. There's still plenty of play on all the Romexes. They're all still very much flexible. We're good there. It's not conflicting with the existing signal wires from the current motor. Hey guys, yes, this is all sweat and my shorts are just as bad and dirty. So man, anyway, the work up there is done. All right, so now I'm gonna go inside the house. We're gonna turn on the breaker and let's check to make sure that we have power at that outlet. All right, so we got power. Good, that means I didn't cross anything. If I had crossed something, it would have flipped the breaker immediately. So far we're looking good. So you guys already know about the current tester. Here we go. But now I'm going to show you one more, and it's this one here. This is an outlet tester or receptacle tester, and it's actually pretty cool because you see, based on the lights that come out here, it'll actually tell you if you have that outlet wired correctly or not. So if you have the neutral and the ground wire crossed or something, it shouldn't be, but it's always a good fail-safe to take a look. All right, so first things first, let's test to make sure we have power. And this one. All right, so now we know that is in fact a hot outlet. Now we're gonna make sure that everything is wired correctly, and that's what this is for. We want correct wiring, so we want blank, yellow, yellow. So this one off, on. So let's take a look. Excellent. And then the next one should be the same. Perfect. All right guys, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up this mess. The hard work is done. Now he's just gonna need to come in here, install it, plug it in, and we're good to go. So stick around, the best is yet to come. All right guys, so it's next week. It's install day for the motor. I'm sorry, I'm so excited I totally forgot my microphone inside. I just realized it. But I went ahead and opened up the box, and I just wanted to show you guys real quick what it is that's in here. All right, so there's the motor sitting in the box still, all in the wrapper, looking good. And they include wiring, the new sensors, your clicker for your car. This is your lock. It is automated, so whenever you leave the house, it will actually lock the garage door so nobody else can just come in from outside and try to pry it. That's the thing that grabs the actual tension rod on the wall. That is my clicker on the wall, and that's the battery backup, and that is a new light. All right, so out of respect for the installation team, I'm not gonna film them doing their work, but they should be here in the next 20 minutes, and they should be done in about an hour, more or less. So, be right back. All right guys, here we go. This looks so much better. Look at this. So the center rail is gone and the motor up there is gone. And now we have our new motor. But look at that. Obviously it's not a beauty queen, but it certainly looks a whole lot cleaner in the garage without this big motor in the center. So let me show you guys real quick what was done here. Here's the motor. The battery backup is in here. All the connections are in there. Now this does come with a light for you to use. I actually asked them not to install it just yet because, you know, with all the stuff that I'm going to be doing in this garage, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be putting it here at the center or if I'm going to be mounting it somewhere on the wall here. But it is an LED housing. But you see here, this one actually has an electronic lock on it. So every time that the door comes down all the way, here comes the plunger and comes out. So that way that'll prevent anyone from outside to be able to pull up on the door and just push it open. That's gonna keep that roller from going any further than it is right there. Shout out to Martinez Garage Doors. They were phenomenal there, great communication. They showed up early and they called ahead to make sure it was okay. That alone is such a big thing for me, so much respect to them. You guys give them a shout out. This is not sponsored again, I did pay for it, but I did want to at least put out the good word to anyone here in Oklahoma. But yeah, he took care of quite a few things actually. He cleaned out the rails for me. He cleaned and lubricated all the rollers. He also caught the fact that previous installers of this garage, this is before I owned this house. For some reason, this mounting point for the rails was shifted over almost an inch inward. So what was happening is that the cable, as the door went up and down, it was actually rubbing on the cables and it hadn't started chewing it up just yet. But that could have been an issue that happened. And if that had happened, they would have snapped and the whole door would have gone boom, just lopsided and off the rail, and it would have been a mess. But you see here, he caught on to that and he went ahead and shifted it over. You see that black right there? That's how far inward this was originally mounted. So now it's all nice and square. He did also teach me not to use white lithium grease, which is why my springs are looking the way they are. That's how white lithium grease gets. It becomes dry and then you get this gritty crap that just attracts dirt. So I got the pow for that one because I had no idea, guys, I'm sorry. But he did teach me how to lubricate this correctly and what lubricant type to use. I took a picture of the one that he uses in particular, so I will be ordering that on Amazon. And he just told me, you know, if you spray it once every 6-8 months and just make sure that the rails are clean and the rollers are clean, you're never gonna have a problem with this. So I am excited. So guys, I'm not sure how the light is gonna focus, but at least here's the finishing touch. Let me show you how much faster this thing opens up now. All right, so now I'm gonna close it and just listen for that lock plunger. Notice how much quieter it is. Now the door's locked. But enough about making this sound like a commercial for this door, because that's not what this is about. This is more about the projects that I'm doing in this garage to improve it. So I'm very happy with how clean this looks. So I'll go ahead and take care of the holes probably in the fall, because it's too hot here. Like I work in the garage, but I'd rather not be here if I don't have to. That's a project that I don't have to do right now. I can wait on that. But I do have one more surprise for you guys. Give me just a second. All right guys, so here is the finished product. Look at that. Now the overhead motor's out of the way, I can finally install an overhead extension cord. This reel is from Home Depot. It's an HDX brand, and it only cost me like 45 bucks. But yeah, check it out. It's a 3-outlet extension cord. I'm using the old power for the old motor. It's mounted on an eye-bolt right up there, so this whole thing can swivel around if I need to. The big advantage of that is that right now my 2 outlets are that one there and back there. You didn't see these. You did not see these. Haha. So what happens is that if I need to hook up anything, I need to move all this stuff out of the way. I don't have to worry about that now, because now I have an outlet in the center of the garage that I can just pull it and place it wherever I want to and hook up whatever I need. So you guys, I hope this was helpful to you. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of small projects like this that I'm going to be doing to the garage, and I hope that ultimately it inspires you guys to do something similar or something better in order to make it more hospitable for you to be able to work in your garage. This is only part 1. You guys just saw a teaser for what I'm going to be doing next. Hopefully this weekend if it's not too hot up in the attic. But yeah, the next thing up for the garage is going to be a new stereo receiver and some in-ceiling speakers. So stick around for that, and like I always say, more projects for the Jetta, the F10, and now my garage. So stick around. See you guys later.